That deadly rampage at a Florida bank tonight. We have now learned that all 5 victims were women.
Saturday morning, Elizabeth and Keith Terrio were shot in their home. When police responded, they were able to identify their 21-year-old son, Dakota Terrio, as the man who shot them. They were looking for the same man, Dakota Terrio, as Dakota is believed to have had a relationship.
A man who was holding 2 women captive at a UPS facility in Logan Township.
Saturday
Deadly
morning,
rampage at a
Elizabeth
Florida
and
bank
Keith
tonight. We have
Terrio were
now
shot
learned
in
that
their
all
home.
5
When
victims
police
were women.
responded,
Maybe these shootings should spark more outrage than a razor commercial. We're 1 month into 2019. Here are just a few of the mass shootings you probably didn't hear about. In Florida, a 21-year-old man armed with a 9mm handgun and ammunition he had legally purchased just 5 days prior walked into a bank, forced 5 women inside to lie down on the lobby floor before shooting them each in the back of the head. A Louisiana man shot and killed his girlfriend, his parents, and 2 others with a handgun he stole from his father. A New Jersey man opened fire at a UPS facility and took 2 women, one of whom was an ex-girlfriend, hostage. A Pennsylvania man went on a shooting spree near Penn State University, killing 4 people and wounding, yes, an ex-girlfriend. In Oregon, a 36-year-old man shot and killed a woman on their first date. They had just returned to her apartment after hiking. A 15-year-old girl was killed by her 17-year-old boyfriend in Spring, Texas. As you can see, the majority of these known suspects were young men and already had some history of violence or threatened violence towards women. All of these horrific instances should have made more headlines and sparked more of a conversation than a damn razor commercial. But instead, they just became additions to the growing number of misogyny leading to gun violence in America. So here's what I don't get. When people go absolutely bananas because a company wanted to perhaps contribute to a larger conversation, whether they went about it in the best way possible or not, the instinct is to attack the company instead of perhaps trying to understand why they are trying to be more socially responsible in the first place. And the answer is not to vilify all men. That's just what conservatives too afraid of looking at themselves in the mirror will say. As do those who want to avoid any conversation surrounding police brutality by saying it's not all cops. We know it's not, but the reality is the issue of misogyny driving gun violence towards women is a uniquely American crisis. Women in the US are 16 times more likely to be killed with a firearm than women in any other high-income countries. Nearly 1 million women have been shot or shot at by an intimate partner, and approximately 4.5 million American women have been threatened with a gun by an intimate partner. And lo and behold, unsurprisingly, domestic violence is often at the root of mass tragedies. In at least 54% of the mass shootings between 2009 and 2017, the perpetrator also shot a current or former intimate partner or family member. Which is why it's so important not only to look at legislators to ensure the country is doing everything in its power to regulate weapons and make it harder for those who seek to cause harm to obtain a weapon, but on a social level, we must actively be working to highlight this problem. That means men asking other men to be better. I really don't understand how this became a stigma, especially when the same people complaining about how you're just vilifying all men or all white men are often the first ones to say the Muslim community need to do more to address their community whenever a terrorist who happens to be Muslim commits an atrocity. Or say, what about black on black crime whenever an instance involving a black person and police arises? But the thing is, this is an issue that resides predominantly with men, and that includes me. As far as I check, I'm a dude, and I understand that that means I have a role to play in helping to address it, which is basically part of what the Gillette advert was trying to do. Because if you bypassed all of the above mass shootings or they just rolled into one and became white noise, then more commercials are needed, more exposure is needed, more effort is needed to make the issue unavoidable regardless of how uncomfortable it makes you. For more on this, would love to know what you think at Francis M. Maxwell on Instagram. You can become a member, tyt.com/join. Never missed another breakdown video by ringing the bell below. You'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget to join TYT today. Download our TYT Plus app on your phone or head over to tyt.com/join.